The Chattel House Window, a cultural and etymological analysis of the vine encroachment phenomenon, heritage, culture, and meaning. Podcast episode 296, copyright 2026, ISBN 978-976-9794276 by yours truly, Dr. William Anderson Giddens, D.D. The Chattel House Window, episode 296, copyright 2026, ISBN 978-976-9794276. Welcome to Heritage, Culture, and Meaning, the scholarly podcasts where we explore the rich intersections of architecture, language, ecology, and identity. I am your host, Dr. William Anderson Giddens, D.D., broadcasting from the island of Barbados. Today, we examine episode 296, entitled The Chattel House Window, an etymological and cultural study of the vine encroachment phenomenon. This discussion is based upon my interdisciplinary study, The Chattel House Window, Giddens 2026, which investigates how architecture, language, ecology, culture, and theology converge within one of the Caribbean's most recognizable built forms. The Barbadian Chattel House emerged during the 19th century in the post-emancipation period as a practical response to social and economic realities. Formerly enslaved people often owned their dwellings but not the land on which those structures stood. Consequently, houses were designed to be portable and easily dismantled, allowing owners to relocate when necessary. Architropics ND. The resultant architecture became a material expression of resilience and ingenuity. The term chattel itself offers significant insight into this history. Derived from the Middle English chattel, from Old French chattel, and ultimately related to the late Latin capitalis. The word refers to movable property or professions, Giddens 2026. Its etymological development reflects historical conditions in which mobility and ownership existed in tension. Thus, the Chattel House stands not merely as a dwelling, but as a cultural archive documenting the aspirations, struggles, and agency of Caribbean people navigating post-emancipation life. Among the most distinctive features of these structures are their windows, typically constructed from timber and fitted with shutters or jalousies. They provide ventilation while protecting interiors from tropical heat and rainfall, Architropics ND. Yet, their significance extends beyond utility. The English word window derives from the Old Norse vinduga, meaning wind eye. The linguistic origin emphasizes the dual role of the window as both an opening for air and a point of vision. In architectural terms, the window mediates between interior and exterior worlds. Culturally, it symbolizes openness, perception, and social connection, Giddens 2026. The focus of today's episode is the phenomenon of vine encroachment, a common sight throughout Barbados and the wider Caribbean. Tropical climbing plants frequently intertwine with shutters, frames, and window casings. Species such as passion flower vines and trumpet creepers use architectural surfaces for support, gradually enveloping portions of the structure. From an ecological perspective, this process demonstrates adaptation and interaction between natural and built environments. Vines transform architecture into living ecosystems, illustrating the dynamic relationships between human activity and ecological process. Gittins, 2026. However, vine encroachment is not merely a botanical occurrence. It possesses profound symbolic significance. The gradual covering of a window by vegetation reveals the permeability of human constructions and the persistent presence of nature. Buildings often appear permanent, yet the vine reminds us that all structures exist within larger ecological systems. The Chattel House window becomes a visual narrative of coexistence, adaptation, and transformation. Cultural theory offers additional interpretive possibilities, drawing upon Babaha 1994 concept of the third space. The vine-covered window may be understood as a liminal site where multiple identities intersect. Neither fully architectural nor entirely natural, the assemblage occupies an intermediate realm. Here, colonial histories, environmental realities, and contemporary cultural identities converged. The vine's presence can be interpreted as an act of reclamation, subtle, challenging rigid distinctions between ownership and the environment that were historically imposed through colonial systems. Within Caribbean context, this symbolism is especially resonant. Chattel houses emerged from circumstances of displacement and restricted access to land. The encroaching vine represents continuity and persistence despite those constraints. The resulting image, part house, part vegetation, embodies hybrid identity, adaptation, and cultural endurance. It reflects the ongoing negotiation between inherited traditions and changing realities that characterizes much of Caribbean experience. Gittins, 2026. The window also functions as a repository of memory. Layers of vegetation accumulate over time, creating what may be described as a visual palimpsest. Architectural details remain visible beneath success growth, just as historical memories persist beneath contemporary cultural forms. For Caribbean communities and diasporic populations alike, the Chattel House symbolizes survival, creativity, and continuity. The vine simultaneously obscures and reveals, reminding observers that history is never entirely erased but continually reinterpreted through new experiences. From a semiotic perspective, photographs and artistic representations of vine-covered windows communicate powerful meanings. They evoke themes of temporality, renewal, ecological interconnectedness, and cultural heritage. Through photography, film, and digital media, these images circulate globally, transforming local architectural features into symbols of Caribbean identity. Gittins, 2026. Such representations encourage broader conversations about preservation, environmental stewardship, and historical consciousness. A distinctive dimension of this study is its theological interpretation. In Christian scripture, Christ declares, I quote, "I am the true vine," end quote, John 15:1, New Revised Standard Version. Throughout biblical literature, vines symbolize life, growth, connection, and divine sustenance. Windows, meanwhile, often signify illumination, revelation, and spiritual perception. When vines encroach upon windows within Caribbean domestic spaces, a compelling symbolic convergence emerges. The imagery suggests interconnectedness between humanity, creation, and the divine. It also reflects values central to Caribbean Christian practice, including communal responsibility, resilience, and stewardship of the natural environment. Giddens, 2026. As we conclude, the Chattel window demonstrates the value of interdisciplinary scholarship. Etymology reveals histories of mobility and ownership. Architecture illustrates adaptive design. Ecology documents relationships between flora and built environments. Cultural theory illuminates identity and resistance, and theology provides a framework for understanding spiritual meaning. Together, these perspectives reveal the vine-covered Chattel House window as far more than a decorative feature. It is a cultural text through which histories of emancipation, memory, ecology, and faith can be read. Thank you for joining me for episode 296 of Heritage, Culture, and Meaning. I am Dr. William Anderson Giddens, D.D. from Barbados, and I invite you to continue exploring the places where architecture, language, environment, and identity meet. Until next time, may we remain attentive to the stories embedded within the ordinary spaces around us. God bless.